Welcome back to Wealth Studio. I'm Rob Bruin. Today we'll be talking about how to break down money moves that help athletes and entrepreneurs build real wealth and keep it. Today's episode is called the Rookie Money Playbook, and I'm here alongside the founder of Courtside Wealth Partners and financial advisor for elite athletes. Nas, what's going on? How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. Excited about this conversation today. Let's get to it.
Yes, sir. All right, man. So tell me, what does a smart financial game plan look like for a 19-year-old phenom who has just started earning real money?
Really good question. So first and foremost, for a 19-year-old athlete or 18-year-old athlete, someone who has just come into contact with sudden wealth, the game plan is simple, right? It's mindset. Before we get to talking about money and constructing your plan and all of those other ancillary pieces, we need to shape a mindset around this opportunity that we have in front of us, right? So I say this to all of my clients currently, and I'll put this out there for those that are listening. You're no longer just an athlete, right? You are a CEO of you enterprises, right? So when you think about that, you're now looking at your skill set of you playing basketball or you playing football, whatever sport that may be. You are the CEO of you incorporated, right? As I just mentioned. So this means you need a game plan, just like on the court, or the field,
Off
you
the
need
court.
the game plan off the court and off the field, right? So here's where I start with clients, right? We're going to build a spending plan that reflects your values, your goals. We're going to automate some of your savings and investing goals, especially early on. And then also build that team of trusted advisors around you, right? So having a financial advisor, making sure that you have a CPA, right? Having an attorney that's at your disposal, because it's not just about helping someone manage their money, but helping educate them on how to set themselves up from a structural perspective that's going to give them longevity way after they stop playing the respective sport that they're playing.
Now that's good because, like as you always talked about, there's so many different avenues and things that athletes have to think about
Yep.
instead of just spending their money, right?
Yep.
Why do athletes have to think about how to use their money differently than most people?
Because when you think about it, if you take a regular person that works a blue collar job, right? Typically, they're going to work about 40 years of their career, right? And that's going to be their earning years to really set themselves up for financial success. For an athlete, you may peak at 25, right? Which means that like your biggest contract may come to you your fourth,
Earlier on.
yes, earlier on in your life. And so that may be the window that we have to really maximize how much money, like your highest earning years, essentially, right? So you've got a shorter earning window, and so we have to keep that into account as we think about how we're going to set you up for financial success. So, and also you're an athlete, right? That income is kind of unpredictable, right? Especially if you get hurt. Like there are things that can come in to derail your career off of its trajectory that it's supposed to head towards. So it's all about maximizing the now from an income perspective, right? And so we flip the playbook. Instead of save later, right? It's save now, it's invest now aggressively. And we're talking NIL, bonuses, brand deals, taxes across multiple states, right? Because if you are earning income in respective states, there could be a jock tax that applies. But obviously, you want to consult with your financial advisor or CPA for that. And so the money rules are just different today than they were before. So your plan has to be exactly that as well.
With these athletes starting to make, more money than we've ever seen, like I just saw recently, Anthony Edwards, his newest deal coming up is going to be about $1 million per year when it's time for him to sign a supermax,
Mm.
which means it'll be 82 million,
Mm.
right? That he will make per year.
Wow.
What's the biggest risk for first generation athletes?
Trying to take care of everybody else, right? I think, especially if you come from that walk of life, right? Again, this is not a one shoot off fit approach. But if you come from a humble beginning where
Mhm.
you and your family didn't really have a lot, it's the ability to try to help everyone around you from a financial perspective. And we know money you can easily erode away at that money if you don't learn how to say no with love. and try to put people in position that add value to what you actually have going on. So it's not just about, if it's 10 people traveling with me, I don't have to feed 10 people. I don't have to buy 10 airline tickets. I don't even, and then when it's time to go to the mall, when we get to another state, I don't have to buy 10 people, help them with their purchases, right? So, taking care of family and friends should come with structure, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't look out for those that have, helped pave the way for you to be where you are today, and they may,
Still gotta stay in that structure.
yeah, you know what I mean. That structure is vitally important to set you up, with financial success, because again, you can end up overspending, you get burnt out, and then you don't have any cushion to really help you later when you're trying to maintain a lifestyle that you built for yourself. So that's why I always, 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 always push value-based spending plans for my clients. It's the only way we can. It's one of the ways that we can ensure that your money, right, does not supersede what's really important to you as a human and for what you want your life to look like after you're no longer playing that respective sport.
When you say value based, for those that don't understand, what does that term really mean? Value based, value.
Yeah. So if you're someone who values spending quality time with family, a value-based spending plan might be, something around having a vacation fund that allows you to set aside money into this account so that later in the year or whenever you are in your off season, you have the ability to spend time with your family while traveling, right?
And you're not spending frivolously; it's already accounted for.
Exactly. Right. So we're spending in alignment with our values, and we have structurally set aside this money to ensure that we're able to continue to do stuff like this.
One other thing you said, we'll move forward. Why do you think, so far with what you've seen, why is it so hard for first generation wealth athletes to say no?
A lot of it's the fear of like disappointing the person that has watched you grow from a little boy or a little girl up until this point in your life where you now are the wealthiest person in your family. And so there's a certain level of pressure and entitlement that family typically come with, that for a lot of athletes, they don't know how to battle with that type of dilemma because they never had to their entire lives, right? You're talking about somebody that came into money. We didn't grow up with money, right? So there's a
Grown up wealthy.
exactly. So there's not already a structure or a way of life that's in play. So now you're telling me I have, for hypothetical purposes, I have $30 million. I'm supposed to tell my mom no, I can't buy
Is it
it.
really 30 though?
Right.
That's the first question.
After we break down agent fees and Uncle Sam and so
You got
forth,
15.
right? You really got about $10 million, right? So that's the importance of like spending in alignment with our values. But going back to that, is just to kind of bring that question home. It's the pressure of like not wanting to tell someone no that has watched you blossom into this person, right? And they may have been the person taking you to practice. They may have been the person paying for your uniforms, your sneakers, etc. So it's really pressure at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that's good too, because I feel like just even being around the athlete, as you said before, it's important for us to add value so that when you extend that need, that you're adding something so that you potentially be paid for that. And your man Rich Paul just said something good the other day. He said title brings entitlements, right? So you want to add value. You don't need a title to
Yeah.
add value to the person so that they know there's a feeling.
1,000.
Moving on, is saving money really the first step to building wealth?
So honestly, so for when we're talking in the context of just athletes, are we talking in the context of just athletes or just in general? What do you think?
Talking in the context of that.
So honestly, not always, right? The first step is always having some self-awareness about yourself, right? So if you don't know your lifestyle costs, your habits, your values, then saving alone won't save you, right? So once you have that awareness, then yes, save with intention and sort of start with like some structure to it, right? So you want to make sure that you have some liquidity that's set aside for an emergency. We want to ensure that we're investing a great portion of the money that you have because we want that money to grow long term, to give you the type of growth to sustain the lifestyle that you're choosing to have that's in alignment with your values, right? And then, like, obviously, paying that whole pay yourself first, mentality is like every time you get paid, there should be a way that you are setting, thinking about not just today, because most people think pay yourself first means, hey, I want those new Jordans, or I want that Maserati, or I want that Rolls Royce. I'm going to go buy it because this is paying myself first. No, paying yourself first means that you're saving and investing your money, right? Thinking about yourself, not in the moment, but for the future as well. And so, above all of that, though, Rob, above all of that, we have to build a level of discipline, right? Because people that have a lot of money sometimes get bored and they buy things
just frivolously,
just because they know
like
that
for the sport.
Right. It's a sport, right? You know that you can do that. So I'm gonna go do it, right? But again, that's why coming up with a value-based spending plan is critical. Because you don't when you have a value-based spending plan, there's no way you can overspend because everything that you're looking to buy is always going to be connected and aligned with who you are as a person.
There was one example of something that you seen one of your clients potentially try to buy that they didn't need.
Hmm.
And you just got done putting together the planning.
Yeah, so I had a client who wanted to purchase a newer vehicle,
Okay.
and the newer vehicle
Was it really expensive?
that they desired, it was over $100,000 for the
Okay.
vehicle,
Okay.
and they wanted this vehicle because it was their dream car, right? Which I understood, and that's part of my job as a financial advisor is to ensure that my clients are able to utilize this wealth that they're building for the things that they desire and things that this is something about like I've always dreamed of owning a home, right? Like if that's if it's a goal of yours, let's work towards that versus just making it a drop in the bucket and saying, oh, go buy that vehicle. So my client tried to purchase this vehicle that was way out of the spending range that was, when we think about
What's way out of the what's way out of the range now? Give us some numbers.
yeah, so like again, it was $100,000 car. I can't say
You
the
don't got to
person
give me the
salary,
exact,
and all of that,
give
but
me an example.
it was out of there. It was I would say it was five, maybe four to six x of what their total net income is for the year, right? And so when I looked at that, I'm like, whoa, like yes, on paper, but here's where I had to reel them back in, right? Theoretically, they could have gone and buy this car, but
For sure. And they knew that.
when we think about and so let me take a sip of this water. Theoretically, they could go out and buy the car, but the car was not in alignment with the values that they told me when we set up their value-based spending
So
plan.
I was going to throw things off.
So I had to remind them, hey, if we go out and make this purchase for this $100,000 vehicle, it's going to prevent you from meeting this goal. And you told me, Rob, right? I'm using you as the example client because I don't want to say their name. You told me that this goal was very important. You being able to buy your first home. But you couldn't. If we make this purchase, it's going to
put you back.
it's going to extend the timeline for you accomplishing that goal. And so I had to remind this client that, hey, I have to tell you that this purchase, I'm not going to, give you the blessings to go and buy because you have this goal of buying a home. And so I want you to accomplish that because that's more in alignment with the values and the strategy that we came up with in order to help you meet that. So buying this $100,000 car is going to completely take us off the course.
100%. I think the big word in everything you just said was accountability.
Yes.
And I know that's what it for. What are some early?
That's just an example. Again, there are many other examples that I could give, but that's just a very basic level example of what a scenario like that will look like.
Understood. What are some early habits that you feel Ricky should start building today?
Build discipline early, right? Know when to say no to your family and friends. Know when to say no to yourself, right? And think about the habits, right, that you form today that will define your legacy later, right? We've seen these stories. We've seen the Trevor Ariza story, right? This guy
Tom Walker,
he made over $100 million in his career, and today he has
Burton.
less than $5 million in liquid assets, and so he can't maintain the lifestyle that he once could afford when he was in his highest earning years. So the discipline that you set for yourself today as a standard will define your legacy later and how you will ultimately be able to survive and even be viewed in the public, because most people seen that article and then end up going to Google to figure out how much Trevor Ariza made over his career to determine, like, well,
How did he do that?
how do we do this? Where's your financial advisor? Do you have a good financial advisor? Right? Because in this game, it's not about me being wealthy, right? And my clients not getting wealthy. If I'm wealthy as a financial advisor because I'm doing what's in the best interest of my clients in return should also be becoming wealthy as well. So I think building those, again, just I'm belaboring the point a little bit, but building that discipline to define your legacy later, right? So this isn't about just having money. It's about, again, knowing when to say no with love to your family, to yourself, right? To keep yourself from building habits that can leave you broke.
I think this is good too, what you're saying, because the thing that's interesting, like as the athletes are getting older, they're maturing. So
Yeah.
like when they start, they're gonna be young. They're gonna make some
Mhm.
bad decisions, but hopefully, if they're abiding by, what your plan is saying, that they understand as time moves on, they'll be able to have more
Yeah.
and be able to have,
1,000%.
more for themselves down the line.
1,000%.
Well, final message, man. What's your final message for the athletes that are tuning in right now?
So if you're ready to start building, if you don't already have a financial advisor, follow me on social media everywhere. Nisiar Smith, or you can visit Courtside Wealth Partners website. And I'd love to take an opportunity to talk to you about what your goals, your values are, and trying to help you align that with your money. And we're doing something special at Courtside Wealth Partners. So you want somebody like a Nisiar Smith on your team helping you again, uh, build the discipline to help create the legacy that you desire for yourself later.
Good words, man. Until next time, guys. Nisiar Smith, Rob Bruin. Everybody be safe. Until next time.
Peace.